Good morning, people. This is Mick from Mufc Realist TV. I'm back again on this day on recording, which is Monday the 5th of June, beginning of the summer. So basically, this is the period when we are kind of expecting to hear something about the sales. Who will actually get the keys for Manchester United? We finished off the season, the Premier League season. We finished third. We got not the FA Cup, and we saw Glazers shaking hand with Erik ten Hag, as you see in the jumbotron. We saw Sir Alex. We saw everyone was on the Wembley Stadium, and yeah, it hurts. We lost 2-1, but all in all, Erik ten Hag has done fantastic, operating and navigating with those leeches, running the club in the background. At the end of the day, it's full sail, green and gold until we're sold. We have a lot of things to unpack today. Obviously, we do expect something to come out according to what I believe as well. We are coming to the end of the road, and this is just me, my personal opinion. As I've been saying, I've been covering this for the past 9-10 months at least, in collaboration with 1958 and many other people. And my last piece that I said was that all roads leads to Doha, and I think I am standing firm on this. Although there's been some reports coming over the weekend, contradicting reports that Sir Jim Rattcliffe is trying to stay on board and offering the 6 siblings to stay. I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. So stick around. We have a lot of things to unpack, and it will come to a conclusion why this is the end of the road for the Glazers, and why they need to hand over the key. So take a sip on your coffee. I'll be back in 10 seconds.
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Right, well, I feel welcome. Dit is mijn home, and I want to achieve success. Okay?
Yes, of course we all want to achieve success, Eric, is what you're saying. And yeah, I'm looking at that picture and I'm thinking, like, Erik ten Hag, what did you say to Avram Glazer in that picture? You know what I mean? One can only imagine. The guy must be frustrated. He busted his balls over the season, worked with what he had, and made it to third spot, and didn't win the FA Cup, and still had to shake the hand of that sleazeball. But let's start with this, actually. This is very, very interesting, which I want to kick off this show with.
Avi, a quick word for Sky News. Are you definitely selling Manchester United? Are you going to accept the Jim Rattcliffe or the Qatari bid? Why are you not speaking to the fans? Don't the fans deserve to know what's happening with the takeover? So silence there from Avram Glazer, and really the fans want answers over the future ownership of their club. They want the sort of investment Manchester City have enjoyed and to reclaim their place at the top of English football. But for now, it's City asserting their domination. Premier League champions, FA Cup winners, and potentially a week today, Champions League winners for the first.
That fucking hurts, to be honest, right? Since when did Avram Glazer or any Glazer communicate with us fan base, right? We know they've been sucking us dry for the past 18 years, but we're here also to dive into the shady business operations and why they have to sell. This is simple Glazeronomics, people. But let's just dive into it. And what I'm saying here is on my personal beliefs and my forensic investigations that's been doing there for so long, applying logic and reasoning, applying a little bit of calmness to this mess. This is far more the most complicated, any gamemanship that I ever cited in my whole career, to be fair, And it's kind of a little bit above our pay grade, because we as fans, we just want to enjoy the game. But unfortunately, we've been sucked into this. We want a fast resolution. We waited 18 years for these clowns to pack up and leave. Just hand over the keys. That's all we want. When is it going to happen? I don't know. But I certainly believe that will be happening very, very soon. And this is why. But let's start with what happened over the weekend on this day. Exactly on this day, on the FA Cup final. We had reports coming out, leaked out to the press. Just exactly what we need. And this is so typical what happens. This is not the first time, right? We are playing a very important game, and all of a sudden, boom, on the same day can start negative reports. We've seen it before, people. We've seen it before. So let's just start from the beginning. He started out with, reports coming out from the Financial Times to say that all 6 Glazers siblings could retain stakes in Manchester United in a proposed phase of takeover from Sir Ineos. I don't even know why I'm calling you Sir Ineos. Yeah? Jim Rattcliffe, who traveled to New York last month for negotiations, is seeking to acquire at least enough Class B shares to take control of the club. That's again reporting from Financial Times. This is tweeted by Central Devils, right? And then it goes on further on, spinning on more and more, adding on more petrol to the fire, right? 2 people with knowledge of the matter said that the Glazers are now focused on a structure that would allow the 6 siblings to sell down the holdings in proportions to their holdings, allowing Ratcliffe to take control. We will debunk that as well, people. We will debunk that as well. Don't you worry. Then he continues to say that Ratcliffe and Ineos would buy the remainder of the Glazers shares in the coming years to derive these contracts. The structure of Ratcliffe's bid means that he can part with less capital upfront, obtain majority control, and invest in the club. This is yet again a recycling tweet. We all know that he offered Joel and Avram. We talked about the cleaner deal, right? The only reason why this deal has been taking time, has been holding up, is because Sir Jim Rattcliffe, the cleaner deal is, of course, SHEIKH JASSIM that's offering 100% clear the debt, money on the table. But no, Ineos, it's complicated what they've been offering, right? We will dive into that as well. Don't you worry about that. Then it continues to say, one source said the penny has started to drop. There is no requirements to make an offer for all shareholders. Financial Times report again. Then we have to go to the right side of the story as well. On the same date, again, how many tweets came out on this day, on the final day? Despite growing frustrations among fans for clarity of the club of ownership, no deal is expected imminently, according to Financial Times again. Do I dare to continue? The day after comes again. Pressure is growing on Glazer family to confer whether they intend to sell or bring in outside investment to finance a stadium rebuild. Erik ten Hag hopes that they will offer him more clarification now the season has ended, according to Mullock at Mirror, right? Continues on that as well. On the 3rd of June, again, this is the last tweet. Just in, Erik ten Hag is hoping to get clarification on the future of this week. I believe that, it's above Erik ten Hag's pay grade. He hasn't really been informed. And let me just dive into this further as well. What is this? For me, it's a recycling news, right? Because you got to look at the other side of the story as well. What led to this? There's still the lobbyist that doesn't like Manchester United to be taken over from a foreign entity. And there's still people calling that Sir Ratcliffe is the better bidder in certain ways. How come it's a better bidder? The guy cannot even afford to buy the club, offering flip-flopping, saying that the 6 siblings are in stake. And it doesn't really make sense in the timeline either. So hold on a second. Hold my thoughts. Because they got it right, but the timeline, it's not right. Because in the beginning, it was so that Sir Jim Rattcliffe and the Glazers were planning a plot to make it exactly what the Financial Times was saying, meaning that Sir Jim Rattcliffe will formalize a shell company where he has 50% and offer the Glazers remaining a 50% share, but only he will be the face outwards. That was then outed and discovered by the shareholders that absolutely voted it down, including Lindsay Train and Boeing Group that voted for no confidence. Therefore, he had to restructure his deal again, and that was the deal that you saw, that he came back with a 20% minority with Joel and Avram. And this has been taking a lot of time, right? This has been creating confusion with the Glazers and causing arguments. Another fact is, to debunk the story with the 6 siblings, it's not correct. There are 4 siblings that want to cash out as soon as possible. Darcy, Brian, you name it. They want to cash out, right? Why would they stay on? They're not even interested in this club. They're interested in the money. So that's just a lot of PR BS, according to my opinion, that's been leaked out deliberately on the day of the final by a certain camp, right? And this leads me to this slide, what we are looking at, that, you know, we have the certain organizations, of course, I cannot confirm properly that they are getting paid. They're leaking out stories to certain publications because they don't want foreign investments such as Qatar to take over. They're looking at the, you know, human rights issues, sports washing, again, and again and again. But then on the very right there, you know, full buyout of the Glazers after 3 years. Again, it's all there, printed. Joel and Avram retain 20% of stake, and then you're coming out to say that all 6 siblings. Doesn't make sense. Yeah? So basically, I'm here to say that, to debunk all this media and to debunk the whole sales process stinks, as we smell a rat. Are you with me? I hope I'm not spinning you dizzy, right? Then you have to look at the social media as well, and big up to Phil De Bruyne, my old friend as well, you know, trying to provide some sense and clarity as well, you know. There's a tweet from Ollie was right here saying, I don't think people realize the importance of getting the deal effing done. Bitching about structure or any structure which Glazers surrenders control is petulance akin to a child crying because his mom did not buy him the right candy bar at the store. And then United Muppeteers, I'm not going to talk about that account either because they are anti, you know, Qatar. They are pretty much towing Sir Jim Rattcliffe. And Philip De Bruyne goes to say it's really this discussion for the Glazers family than any else. Jim Rattcliffe will only bid for full control. Again, it speaks sense here, Phil, of the club. The Glazers family have to declare if they distribute the remaining equity equally among the family or just Avram and Joel. That is also the issue. So let's big up somebody actually making sense of this, Phil. You know, big up to you, Phil. Like, you know, I have a lot of respect. We speak quite often as well. So basically, it is a quarrel between the family. Like, to split, how do we split it equal, right? You're sharing the cake with 6 siblings. Of course, you're going to have some arguments. But at the end of the day, this is another thing that I don't agree with, and this is something that I will debunk with you as well, that the Qataris have not made a superior bid for the Glazers to accept, or they would. Nobody at the Rainy Group has ever spoken to Sheikh Jassim Al Thani, and they are confident in his authenticity. What? So then you have to go to Carl on the right side of the screen to say, read this tweet back to yourself and tell me you're sane. Confident in authenticity. The guy set up a foundation employed by employers for the sole purpose of this negotiation. So 100%. So this shared confusion, flip-flopping between accounts, media, I can understand why people want this solution to be over as soon as possible, including myself as a fan. As a fan. Mark my word. But look, at the end of the day, to debunk that there's a question about his authenticity, we just have to go back in time, because Jassim's 9-2 Foundation is led by Shahzad Shabazz, who is the president of the 9-2 Foundation, and led with negotiations, frontman and advisor Yassir Shah from Bank of America as well, with Fadi Bachos and many, many more, and lawyers for McFarlane's. These are the people in charge of the negotiations. Sheikh Jassim is never involved in these negotiations. The same thing with Sir Jim Rattcliffe. He has people working on the deals, including his lawyers. So let that sink in, people. You know, the rest is just prop, smoke screens, and blatant lies, according to my opinion. Now, in terms of moving forward, like, because for me, we are already acting like a football club. We're acting like we already been sold. We are moving swiftly on the transfer market. As we've seen, reports are already saying that we already have almost aligned a done deal with Kim Min-jae, right, to trigger his release clause. That is about 45 million euros, but I think we have offered a little bit more to sweeten the deal, about 55 million euros. And then we're also in negotiation talking to other players around. How is that possible, right? Where's the money coming from if the new owners has pledged the budgets for the transfer markets? Of course, you're going for it. But you can also go and pre-align all these deals. Once this transfer window opens, you should have a resolution who your new owner is, which I believe would be within the next week or two, to be honest, right? I hope this makes sense, people. God, this is so frustrating. This is spinning my head in at the end of the day. And as a fan, I want this to end. As a professional, I'm disgusted to see what the media has done, what certain accounts has been done. Some have been sponsored to toe a certain line. We all know that. There's some dirty, dirty tactics been going on in this sales takeover. 2 billionaires, or one poor billionaire and one mega ultra billionaire, are going toe to toe. One has said, I'm willing to put in half of the money now and pay you off within 3 years. And by the way, I will not clear the debt. The other one has said, I got endless of money. I'm willing to pay money on the table right now, buy you outright, 100% all inclusive, and make the club great again. So, of course, excuse my language, I've kind of compared apples to apples. I looked at Ineos. I looked at, Night 2 Holding Foundation. And, of course, all roads, according to my opinion as a fan, I pick Qatar. I know there's a lot of people, it's going to be split in the fan base. Some people want that, some people want this. But at the end of the day, what matters is that we get the Glazers out as far as we can, not even being close, not even 1% of shareholders in this company, right? We need to turn the page. We need to move forward. We need to start winning again, We've seen reports from Sir Jim Rattcliffe, which is his smear campaign, that how he runs his businesses and operations hasn't been really on par within expectations of Nice and many other businesses as well. So what does this lead to, people? We've seen that Glazers families, all 6 of them, was at the FA Cup. Right? They all flew private jet, an expensive private jet, costing about £500,000 just to go from wherever they flew from, Florida to Manchester to London, right? With the siblings, with the family, with the grandchildren, everyone, right? Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. And there's been even reports to say that both, Sir Jim Rattcliffe and, 92 Foundation met with the Glazers after, all 6. And, yeah, we've seen that coming out in the ether as well, that, Manchester United takeover, Sheikh Jassim could pull out as Qatar keen to avoid awkward scenario. I read this article, and for me it sounded a little bit like it came from Qatar, a leak, to say that, don't fuck around with us, right? We have put in a substantial bid, what you asked for. We have even added on more, for your 100% to cover all your grandchildren and family and everything that's involved, for you to live a happy life and walk away, right? But on the other hand, what I also been told is the reverse factor. It is more what's holding up is the Ineos camp. It's kind of been a exclusivity for both of them, right? So Glazers are kind of waiting for, what are you going to do, Ratcliffe, right? We tried this, we tried that, that didn't work. It was backfired, it was voted down. What you're going to do now, we are waiting. If you're not coming with your adjustment, we have to hand over the keys. And this is what I believe it's going on right now. 100% what I believe. But that is just my thoughts and opinions to make sense of the whole mess. But do let me know in your comments what you think and believe. So, according to my opinion right now, in my conclusion, it is time to say goodbye. Now, in order to understand further, you just have to follow the money. It's a Glazonomics. And you understand why it's the end of the road for the Glazers. They have no other options. It comes down to very simple Glazonomics. You just have to follow the money. Understand the situation, people. If you look at the Glazers' current situation with Manchester United, they have reached a debt over $1 billion. And the time is ticking. We are in a financial credit crisis where banks are collapsing all over the world. And the banks simply want the money back as soon as possible. That's why they went to the market, to see if they can find investors. If you break it down from a Manchester United perspective, the clock is ticking. You have 630 billion pounds in financial debts. That is according to the financial reports as well, where we've all been seeing it's public. On the other hand, the net transfer debt is about 132 million, right? On top of that, you have 112 million in transfer add-ons. That leaves you to 174 million. And on top of that, there's a credit overdraft utilized to be used for the potential, summer transfer market, what people has been talking about. That is over 1 billion for just Manchester United alone. And on top of that, there's an interest taken, right, on 858 million pounds that the banks want to have back before 2024. But you also have to understand on the other side of the pond, you have the Buccaneers. The Malcolm Glazer bought for 192 million back in the days. That was more than ever that anyone has paid for a professional football team in the NFL. But to do the deal, he did the same thing what he did with Manchester United. He borrowed 130 million from the banks, leverage again, right? Since he passed away 2015, it's just been sheer diet. Bad business, because the kids don't really care. The kids was grown up with the golden spoon in the mouth, right? There's only Joel and Avram that are interested. The rest of the 4 siblings, they just want to cash out, right? So they do have problems, even in America, with the businesses as well. Currently, they own about $375 million for Buccaneers that the banks also want to have back, right? So you add that on top of everything, oh boy, you're looking about $1.4 billion in debt and nothing to show for. So what does this lead to? It's the end of the road for the Glazers. It's bank financial crisis. They don't have the leverage. Of course, they want to suck out as much money as possible from the bidders. We've seen. They dealt the less card. They appointed the Rainy Group to do the shadow bidding, to bid against each other. Who will blink first? Who will offer the most value for them? Surely it's going to feed all the kids, the grandkids, and everyone happy, right? So for me, it doesn't make any sense to keep any of the Glazers on. I don't think so either. I think they want to cash out as soon as possible. The only thing that's been delaying this is the confusion for Ineos. But that's kind of coming to the end as well. Because surely they had meetings over the weekend with all the Glazers being in town. SHEIKH JASSIM was in town as well. 92 Holdings. Of course they discussed. And at the end of the day, the one that has the most money on the table wins. That's it. So, according to my conclusion, Erik ten Hag looked Avram in the eyes, shook his hand, and said, "Hand over the keys and get the fuck out." Sorry for doing that. But ironically speaking, all roads leads to full sale, nothing else. When this will happen, I believe within the next 1 or 2 weeks. You know, the season is over, FA Cup is over. They just need to hand over the keys. This has been Mick Ruby from MUFC Realist TV. Please like and subscribe to this video, and I give you back the day. Thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.